Hey everybody, Paul from Better Chess, and I'm here covering round 2 of my participation in the adult section of the Washington Chess Championships. I won game 1 really by a fluke, if you saw my last video. My opponent hung mate and won. This time I'm up against a much stronger player. He is 2200, he's a longtime master. Let's see how the game went. So my thoughts in this game were to play as solidly and creatively as I could. I have the white pieces, and here's what happened. It's typical Sicilian. I used my King's Indian attack. He played very typically. I just continue with G3, G6. This is all King's Indian attack, which I'm sure you've seen many times in my videos. All book, all theory. The idea is for me, I want to play C3, D4, open the center, play rook to the file, etc., etc. And again, C3, preparing D4, as I said. He is playing just fine. And now I get my break in D4. And the idea is I just don't want a backward pawn. I want to play D4 to grab the center. He takes, I recapture. And he plays a good move here. He plays D5. And this looks a little bit like a French defense in some respects, right? So I play the advanced E5. And there's some pluses and minuses to the position. I have more space. His C8 bishop is hemmed in with no future, so I'm a little better here. Nothing extraordinary. But then he plays a really slow move, H6, which I don't get. I thought he might play like B6, right? Fianchetto the bishop on A6 or B7 or something of that nature. So that's stopping bishop G5, this move, but I just ignored it and I continued to develop. And then he plays another slow move, A6. I'm not sure if he was just trying to get me out of book here or just being very prophylactic, right? Just trying to slowly increase his pressure on the wings. But yeah, I should have just played like H4 and continued the attack, but I didn't. I kind of played a little weak here. I played G4. And the idea is, I didn't want this knight to go into F5. I was worried about that for some reason because it puts pressure right on the D4 pawn. What I didn't understand and realize is there's really no pressure, right? I have ways to defend it, but this is a structural weakness that we'll explore a little bit later in the analysis, but problem already. Okay, but I'm still having an advantage, a slight advantage. So he plays B5, really expanding, opening up the C file, which is weak. I play bishop E3 to defend. There are probably other moves, but I think this is the most solid to protect and continue to defend the D4 pawn. I have a nice center. Then he plays the odd H5. He's making a lot of moves here before castling, which is really strange. And the computer here thinks I'm much better. And it's probably right? I have a lot of control of the squares. His king is weak. His C8 bishop is weak. And I play H3 to defend. All this is accurate, right? And then he plays bishop D7 and trying to make something of his bishop. Now, the computer likes like knight G8 here to try to reroute the knight, but it's a reasonable developing move, and I'm just better. As simple as that. So I think a good move here should have been something like bishop to G5, just creating a pin on the knight. That makes some sense. But I didn't play that. I played instead knight D2 to kind of reroute my pieces. That's a little strange of a move. I kind of want to play knight B3, C5. That's where I saw the weakness. Stockfish gives it a question mark, but anyway. It is what it is. I still have a slight advantage. So then he captures. He just opens up the H file now. Right? It's a good move. Really, I saw it immediately. Like, here we go. Right? This rook is open. It's free. Having your rook on an open file this early is a pretty good situation. So while I have a smidge of an advantage, this is good counter chances for him. He still has to figure out what to do with his king and his queen and to castle properly, but he's off to a reasonable start here. And again, the computer says knight G8 and start rerouting or allowing queen H4 perhaps and that sort of thing. But he plays here, knight A5. Again, he wants to go into the C4 square. And this is really a moment of my own arrogance. I am so obsessed with occupying this c5 square that I really don't care what else he does. I'm really like, go on to c4, I don't even care. So arrogant, in fact, I play a move that eliminates all of my advantage. And that move is b4. Now, absolutely giving him the c4 square. And after something like rook c8, he's got the open c file, to name just one advantage. So, I said, so knight d2, takes, and now we're playing b4, and now he's going to be able to land his rook on an open file and probably play knight c4. But I don't care. He plays knight c4, I play knight b3. Question mark. The right move here was probably something like bishop g5, just creating a pin and not letting the other knight get into the game. But I played knight b3, again, just obsessed with this c5 square. The problem with this move, it's not so much it's terrible as it is just it doesn't do anything, right? That outpost by itself does not help matters because keep in mind I have he has moves like a5. He can castle and then play rooks to the file, to the open c file. He's just better here, and I misunderstood that. I just figured I'm getting c5, and I don't care. So he plays, here he goes, knight c6. Now his pieces are starting to come to life a little bit. He's starting to get the advantage. Again, here I go. a3, protecting the pawn that was hanging on b4. Okay, fine, that's reasonable. And then he hits me with a shot here. Remember I told you about this open h file? Good move here. Knight takes e5. Either knight could have taken, probably. And the idea is to force me into some sort of checking sequence where I'm going to lose some material. So if I were to take, he takes, and he's hitting my knight, he's hitting h2, and there's a problem. Right? I'm actually not losing, but things are uncomfortable. Right? I have to play like bishop d4, and then he has a checking sequence. I move. He can quietly double up his rooks. Maybe with queen h4 coming, and there's a problem. I'm definitely a little worse here, for sure. Computers are equal, but I think it's hard to play for white here. Very difficult. So after this move, though, I sort of see this checking sequence, and I panic a little bit. I play rook e1, question mark, and now I'm worse. I'm just in real trouble. So he plays the right move here. He takes on e3. And after some thinking, I take back with the rook, which I think is the right move, even though I'm worse. But now he's got the bishop pair. And that c4 square is very juicy again, and that's what he does. He plays knight c4, hitting the rook, keeping pressure on the a3 pawn. And I'm not really sure what to do. An active move is probably something like just rook g3, protecting the g4 pawn, and maybe f4 or something. But I play more passively. I play rook e1. And I'm just completely defensive. Quick assessment of my position here. The bishop on g2 bites on granite here. I have nowhere to go. The knight, although has access to c5 and a5, doesn't really do anything harmoniously, right? I can't do anything. What am I going to do with that, right? I can play moves like, rook a2 and rook, over here, but what does that do? That doesn't do anything either. So just a lot of problems to manage. Okay, so he plays, after I play this rook e1 move, and I'm threatening actually to take on d5, and he sees it. He calmly plays king f8. Very smart move. So now it's me down, the equivalent of probably almost a piece, and he has a decisive advantage. And he will slowly exploit this material advantage, yes, or positional advantage, as he continues to develop his pieces. So I play back to c5. Why not? Let's get something on the board here. He plays rook a7, and the idea is he's going to slowly build up his attack, probably on the open file, but just to get his pieces coordinated. I play rook a2. I lift my rook and maybe move over to e2, and or c2 to create some counterplay. But the problem is I'm really stuck on defending this a3 pawn. I just wanted to lift to protect f2 if and when this becomes under attack. It does, see that at least, which is a good thing. Okay, so then he comes, queen f6, right, hitting the d4 pawn. And I don't really have much going on here. I play knight e2, and he plays really smart here. Rook h4, hitting the g4 pawn. Just really good chess, really solid moves. I mean, he's a master, and he finds all the good moves here. I play a4, trying to get something going here, trying to create some counterplay. He takes the g4 pawn. I take on b5. He can't capture with the pawn, of course. He takes with the bishop. I play on c3, threatening to capture, and then he just continues his assault here. Takes on d4. I mean, I am just completely busted here. I play queen a1, and all of this is really for nothing. But it's interesting to show you how he continues his attack. He's very good. He's very thorough about it. So then he's played like rook g4 and continue his attack, but he doesn't need to. He just plays calmly rook d2. He's just going to try and trade down, now forcing trades because f2 is under attack, right? And queen f2 is, real trouble. So I take, interestingly enough, with the queen, I play rook back. He takes another pawn. I mean, this is just a one-sided affair. Now I'm down the equivalent of about a rook. He's got passers. He's got the bishop pair to escort the pawns home. Look at this raging diagonal. I mean, that's just really pretty. Plus, this pawn here is just gonna push its way down the field here. Right? It's just gonna go here and then here, and then there's not much I can do. I have to just watch it happen. It's pretty much all. Right? So anyway, I just panicked. It's actually the right move. It's just knight e6, trying to create some counterplay. He takes it. I play queen c1. I'm just trying to jump into some squares here. Maybe get a perpetual, if that's possible. But he finds a defensive move, queen d6. Very accurate. And I just jump into g5, trying to take pieces. He, again, very calmly. He plays not the most accurate move. He plays, I think rook f7 is actually a good move, which is just not obvious, but winning from the computer's perspective. But he doesn't need to do that. He plays his bishop e8, defending, and also preparing the role of the h-pawn. I'm sorry, the a-pawn. Really good stuff. Can't argue with success here. I'll just show you some more moves. Queen g4. I'm just, trying to keep the pace here. He's just calmly, just every move, is just improving his position. That's what you do when you have a material advantage, right? Keeping a pin on him. I'll just kind of play a few moves here, trying to get to the open file. He's covering the queen, so there's no pin. 2 open files is better than 1, right? Let's just try and get the B file and the C file. And this isn't the most precise move, but it's good enough. Just knight c4, trying to trade, and then I really lose the thread here. I just check him. I'm like, okay, I'll just play check. He plays king e7, queen b3, knight d2. He's just all over me. I have really no moves here. So I just offer a trade of queens. He gladly accepts it. Back to c4. Outpost is a monster. From the very early part of the game, too. That's the irony of it. Remember when I gave up that square and I'm like, I want to go to c5. Who cares if he plays knight c4? This is the reason why we don't want him to play knight c4. His pieces are everywhere. So I just rook a4. a5 stops it. No biggie. I'm trying to create some semblance of counterplay. I'm down material. I'm down probably equivalent of a rook or more. So bishop f1 to try and get the knight and grab the a5 pawn. Okay. He just ignores it. He doesn't care. e5. So I take it. He captures. Ooh, I went back the pawn. But he just gets behind it. And I have no way to stop this. Try to get my king active. He pushes. Getting my king closer to the pawn. But again, it's just, look at this. Oh, what a move. Covering the queening square. This dormant bishop is now coming to life. It could have done this at any point, but look at this nice scope and coverage of pieces. Just really, 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 really nice. So, I don't have much to do here. So I just play rook takes e5. and now I'm completely lost. I'm probably getting mated, actually. And he moves, I play back to defend, he captures, takes, bishop e6, king d4, c2, and I resigned. There's nothing I can do. He has all the control. He can play a move like, you know, bishop f5, protect the c2 pawn, and I have to just watch. So I think it's an instructive game. It's a loss. Learn from your losses, as I'm very fond of saying, but it's because you have to overcome your arrogance. You have to play the board. You can't just force matters and live in an hallucinatory state thinking that, you know, if I get my knight to this square, things are going to be great. Objectively, that was just a bad idea. I had an advantage early, right? If I just played solid chess and looked at his plan, I would have had a much better idea. Like, for example, after I played the weird g4 and we played some moves, this is not great. All I had to do is play like b3 here, and I still have an advantage, right? Just b3. Play the board. Take away the c4 square. Yeah, he can play rook c8, of course, and whatever, but it doesn't matter. Now this knight looks weird on a5. Anyway, I have one win and one loss with a couple more rounds to go. I hope you enjoyed this, and I will see you in the next video.